Bruce, obviously you're developing a history with that team. How bothered were you by the hits in the third period? First the Wilson hit, and then the halfway one.
Well, there was a lot going on. Their physical games against them. I think there was one earlier on McAvoy at the end of the second that was more sort of bothersome. He's up against the boards, make contact with the head. Like those are the ones I always find that are, and there was one on Camphor even in I think it was the first period. It's late. Those are the ones that bother you when guys leave their feet. I think the Wilson one on Corrali was on his way down and Wilson was actually just prepared to hit him. But I thought that one was one of those incidental, there's not much you can do once the guy starts tumbling down. It looked like there was some stuff going on in the corner. I think that's what our bench was yelling about with holding a hook that might've led to him going down, but at the end of the day, and then the Hathaway one, it's from behind. It's tough on Jared. He comes out with some facial injuries, and hopefully he's not concussed. But at the end of the day, that's sporting. Whether it's 5-2, however you look at it, that's up to the refs to look at and determine. But anyway, physical with Washington again. Looks like that's going to be the style of play, and like I said, our guys just have to be prepared for it, and we've got to make sure we dish out our share of hits as well.
Chris Ryan.
Hey Bruce, what does it mean to win a game like that, where you've taken a lot of hits from those guys this year, but you've been able to respond in an appropriate fashion? It seems kind of over and over again against that group, and does that forebode anything for the future?
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously the last time in here, we didn't put our best foot forward. Like I said, circumstances sort of had us against the 8 ball going into the game, but I liked our response today about starting on time. They had a game yesterday, so you always figure they're going to, they may be a little bit slow out of the gate. You don't know, but get going and get ahead. And we did that. Obviously PK scores a big shorty for us. Their power plays deadly. We saw that with up there. We saw it in here last time. We saw it again tonight. So you got to be careful, but good 5-on-5 game for us. Again, they're a big team. They're built to play a physical game. They can score. So you have to be prepared to manage pucks. You got to be on your toes with the physicality and make sure you dish out your share of hits. And you got to play fast against them. Sort of counter their physicality. And I thought we did a lot of those things tonight. You want to take advantage of some of that, Chris, on the power play when they do go to the box. We weren't able to do that tonight. Obviously that's, been a bit of an issue for us lately. But we have some time to fix that, but the rest of the parts of our game were solid.
Joe Haggerty.
Hey Butchie, what does it say about Krejci's confidence level when you see him make a play like that with the puck, a patient play where he just holds onto it until he's ready to see an opening and shoot there? And just that second line now, it seems like they've put a bunch of games together with even strength goals at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the tail end of a power play, so we're fortunate we had 4 forwards in there digging around to get the loose puck. So Hall makes a good play to keep it alive. Smitty makes a good play. We got a net presence, so it all, Jake's at the net. So nice combination of things happen against an aggressive kill. That's what you got to do. You got to win a puck and get it to the open guy. And usually if you create that situation against their aggressiveness, you'll get a good look. And we did. And good for Krejci. I'm not going to lie, Hags. I'm on the bench. I'm like, come on, Krejci, shoot the damn thing. Because there's been a couple of times he's looked off shots to make plays, and he's got a good shot, especially from the slot. So, but he knows the game. He's got a good feels for anybody. So found the right spot. Good goal for us. The timing was excellent. And I guess to go to your point about the second line again, bringing offense. The Krejci goal. The Smitty play to Clifton and back to the front of the net again. We need that. The big boys came to play today on both lines, and we're dangerous when that happens.
Kevin Dupont.
I do want to follow on that Krejci goal, but first, the John Pearson died the other day, and he played here for 10 years, and he was a legendary broadcaster in his day. You would have been just a young kid in Ottawa then. I don't even know if those Bruins games, Channel 38, ever got back to Ottawa?
You know what, Kevin? I'm not familiar with the name. And as a guy that likes and knows his Bruins history, so it was before me. I remember listening to a few games on the radio, and it was a very crackly sound, and it was a certain station. I think it was on AM back then, but I wouldn't recall the call letters of the station. And there was a guy, but I remember listening to the Celtics too, and he had a very scratchy voice, but I want to say it was Johnny Most, but I don't know who did the hockey. Was it Fred
Cusick did it and a little bit with John Pearson. Yeah.
It might have been that voice I remember way back then, because I used to listen to the Celtics too back then. But at the end of the day, not that familiar, and it was rare because it would always eventually cut out.
Okay. And on the goal, there was such patience in that moment. You just talked about it. You wanted him to shoot, and I was asking Bergie about this too. Patience is such a rare commodity, especially in today's game. So can you teach? Can you coach patience? The guys who have it, where do they get it?
I don't think you can. I think it's a heat of the moment thing that a player just senses what's going on around him. It's very difficult to teach a guy to account for, 8 or 9 people on the ice, because that's usually what you have to be able to do. Where is everybody? Okay. In that particular instance, Krejci knew that they were aggressive, and he knew they had a guy in the box probably. So he only had to account for 4 of them, and 3 of them were in the corner. So you had the guy in front of him. That's difficult to always know where everyone is on the ice. I think that's what separated Gretzky, from the great players, and then go on down the list. The guys that had the ability to slow the game down, make plays, could usually sort of figure out where everybody was going all in his head at the same time. I think some of those guys honestly have a photographic memory, because they can just, paint the picture in their head and keep it moving. And Krejci has that, has the ability to do that. So, and in today's game, the reason you don't see as much of it, Kevin, honestly, I think there's so much just back pressure and pressure all over, pressure the puck. You hear it constantly, that you rarely have much time and space. It's just become a game where the players that can create time and space for themselves are the ones that excel, because there's just so much checking that goes into the game now. Whereas before, guys were more, you always heard it, I had my man. Well, it's not that way anymore. It's everyone kind of gang tackles the puck sooner or later. So it's less about that, I got my man, and more about, let's make sure the guy doesn't have a whole lot of whatever, especially in the scoring area.
Last one, Jimmy Murphy.
Hey, Coach, I'm just, going back to just sort of the streak you guys are on right now. The first 3 games of this were more, I guess, controlled, so to speak. And then this game's kind of back and forth, so much going on physically and offensively. How impressed have you been with the recent, versatility, so to speak, of the team to just sort of switch to that type of game?
Well, I always felt when we were on our game, Jimmy, and when we got our lineup and we're still missing a few guys in the back end, we can play different styles of game. We can get moving and skating and push the pace and score goals. We were having a lot of trouble earlier this year. All right. And we're not out of the woods with that yet, but we're getting better at it, transitioning and winning a game where if we give up 3 goals, we can still win a game. I've always felt we play the tight checking games where we're very comfortable in those 1-1 games that are going into the third period. Physical games, we've matched up well over the years. There's always one team that's probably a little better than you in a certain area, but I feel that our team is good against any style. Like we played Toronto in the playoffs well, and they were an offensive sort of machine, and we were able to hang with them. Tampa, they were a little bit better than us in the playoffs because they obviously had a little bit better of every area of their game. And I found we played a lot like them. They could play any style. They just had our number, and we're always, just made an extra play more than we did. But I still feel like the heavier teams, we were right there over the years. The faster teams we could play with, the teams that, were a little loosey-goosey would eventually check well enough to get them to cough up pucks and win games that way. So a lot of different ways, but at the end of the day, you've got to be able to do it consistently, and we're starting to see that. And obviously the moves Donnie made has helped us a lot, not only in person with those 3 players, but I think that it's galvanized a few of our guys like a Krejci. He's got a haul in his wing. All of a sudden now, he's a little more excited to play. It moves a guy over because Lazar goes into the middle, and maybe it makes that line better. Riley now complements a partner that, is more of a defender because he can move the puck. So, and gets those guys excited to play. So it's a little bit of all of that going on. Swayman comes in when we're injured. he didn't play tonight, but he's a guy that's helped giving us a little bit of juice too, knowing when our top, when Halak and Yarrow were out, Tuukka were out, sorry. So there's a little bit of that going on now where we're starting to get excited about our group and what they can accomplish. Now, again, 1 week doesn't make a season, but it sure gives you sort of something to build off of going forward.